That's what the feminists argued for themselves.
That's a completely different reason. You can have the same outcome.
It's the same fucking outcome.
You can have the same outcome, and it could be for different reasons. All right, you're saying the outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can have two different reasons and have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s progressive feminists for men because you intended it to be different.
Andrew Wilson destroys Coach Greg Adams in this explosive debate over marriage as Andrew Wilson uses simple logic to completely outsmart Greg Adams, totally proving his point as Greg Adams tries desperately to save his shattered argument, while Andrew Wilson has since called Coach Greg Adams one of the dumbest people he's ever debated against, ever. Let's get in.
Right? We would try to get rid of it. It would be a nice try. I'll give you that one. That might be a ball.
No, it's possible. And more than possible. And it's better than the idea of just continual degeneracy.
Well, I'm not promoting degeneracy. However.
Sex outside of marriage?
Well, who is that degenerate to? I mean, that's your Bible. So I mean, most of your Christians, your traditional. Hold on for a second. Most of your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous.
Sounds like
so that sounds like normal.
So sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
It sounds like it's really bad. But those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to have.
You think that this is mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not going to mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet or pining around the world. You can hardly mitigate that. I mean, you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah, we can put outlaw
these are the church women.
You can outlaw OnlyFans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big major swing at they're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Do you know that the People versus Larry Flint was not long ago when the normalization of the porn used to be outlawed. Okay, it used to be outlawed all over the United States, and guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men and the effects it had on marriage were negligible. You could still get it to some degree underground,
right?
But it was tough and it was illegal. Why do you think?
And people still went to the.
Why do you
they
think
went to that? I don't know if you remember this. If you're old enough, they still went to that VHS area or the area of the magazines.
That was after Larry Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of one of the things that they said.
That was after they legalized it. Before they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide open. It's in the open.
Yeah. So
now,
we need to eliminate it. Yes,
we didn't eliminate Playboy and Penthouse.
That's after Larry Flint. Larry Flint was Penthouse.
I understand that, but it's still here. I mean,
he won the case.
Correct.
But
so
we're unwinding.
How are you going to beat OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's what Roe v. Wade was. The idea of Roe v. Wade was to unwind. By the time you beat
OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm going to just let you know.
Yeah, you know what?
Right, the damage is pretty much done. That would take 30 or 40 years.
Okay, well, after a war, the damage is done. It might take 30 or 40 years. But you know what? The thing is we don't quit because it might take some time.
I didn't ask you to quit. What I'm asking you is you're trying to solve the problem today of getting traditional.
Both.
Traditional
today, tomorrow.
I understand that. Tomorrow will be a better day. But at this point, you're looking at traditional conservative women that have thrown their punanis out. Some of them are single moms.
Well, they're not traditional.
Right. But again, they're not. But this exists. And unfortunately, the traditional conservative movement
and it's full of feminists, I agree.
Yeah, these women come in as feminists, liberals, and they cosplay, trick these men into marriages, say that they're going to marry them, not in the secular, and then they follow you, and then they run right back to the court. This does happen quite a bit, even in the Christian church.
Not from us.
Well, I don't know how many you are. We still haven't determined.
But the thing is funny.
This still happens, so a lot of men get caught off guard because they see her thumping the Bible. Oh, she's one of us. And these women have figured out how to cosplay.
And again, I think this is a good question, right? Notice I've answered all of yours. You haven't answered any of mine. But
which one did I answer?
Yeah. Can I ask a couple?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the progressive mantra is that sexual liberation, this is what feminism was based around, was sexual liberation. That was the big one.
Correct.
That their bodies were being controlled, not just from abortion, but from who they chose to have sex with because they were attracted to them, this and that. Marriage was a complete trap for women. It was self-destructive to them, this and that. What is the distinction in your message in that one to men?
What's my message?
Well, it seems to me that your message is that marriage is simply too dangerous and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it, perfectly fine, and it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it would be safer.
Hang on. Yeah. That seemed like the same exact message that we got in the 70s from feminists.
If you frame it that way, it would be. But
so you're a feminist?
Hold on for a second. It would be two different outcomes. You're protecting wealth, access to children. You're actually being able to control who has your children.
That's what they wanted.
Exactly. Well, no, they want to be able to kill their children and abort them.
They wanted to be able to determine what happened with their children.
We're trying to figure out where we have the control legally. They're having the control over their body. These are two different. These are two different outcomes.
So what's the
legal
delineating
outcome
factor?
Is what the men are trying to figure
from
out.
A 1970s feminist to your messaging right now? What is the difference?
They're trying to control their bodies.
So are you?
I'm trying to control legally, financially. These are two different things.
Those are your body outcomes. You're controlling your bodies.
No. Don't just make it a body.
It's the same thing.
It's financial. These aren't not my body.
That's the same arguments they made. It's financial.
No. You're trying to make it the same. I know you're trying to. No. You're trying to cram that in. Oh, finances is your body. I'm trying to control the legal outcomes.
So
related to that. Related to finances. Not related to me being liberated and sleep with who I want to. The first goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around. That's the feminist goal. Those are two different things.
They make the same claim. They make the same claim. Their claim
never was financial.
We're not telling women that they need to go sleep around.
Those are two different things.
We're not telling women they need to go sleep around. We're just telling them they can if they want to. Isn't that the same as your message?
If they want to. Some men don't sleep around.
Yeah.
Some men don't sleep around.
It's just feminism for men, dude.
No, that's what you want to call it.
There's no prescriptions. It's just feminism for men.
How's that not a prescription? I get to control who I'm with. I get to control where the law is.
Hold on
for a second. And I get to control where my finances are, not the state.
Said the feminist.
No. That's not. No. That's not.
Folks, let me know down below if you agree with Andrew Wilson in that Coach Greg Adams basically is a first-generation feminist. And it's rather interesting because if you look at the dynamic, like I get what Coach Greg Adams is trying to say, but I'm going to show you exactly why in a second. He basically sounds like a feminist because Andrew Wilson, he's talking about the real world consequences. Like if you do X, X and K and they both equal Z, well, they both end in the same thing. So you can call it something else, but you're doing the same thing. And Coach Greg Adams, though he might have a different perspective, he's basically saying, no, that's not what I'm doing because my focus is over here. But that's exactly what a feminist says. It's the same thing with abortion. I'm not ending my child. I'm just ending a sack of cells. You see what it is? Like, it's the same argument type. He's changing the perspective to call it something else what it is, but the consequences are the same. You just ended a life. Whether you call it, ending a life or an abortion or terminating, whatever, you're doing the same thing, which is ending in the same consequence. You can call it for a different reason, but it is the same. But hit that like button and notification bell if you're enjoying the video. And if you want to help support the channel, check out the link in the description and let's get back in.
It's not the woman's
finances. We don't have a bank account. We can't decide what to vote. We can't decide what to do with our children. We're men's property. It's the same shit.
That's a secondary issue.
Oh,
that is a secondary issue.
You tried to
compare it. You tried to compare it and then say finances is body. I mean, come on.
That's
man.
what
I mean,
they were fighting. You're really trying
to cram this.
They were like, we want credit cards.
Narrative.
We want to be able to control our bank accounts. We want to be able to control our finance.
That's very much a secondary, tertiary issue. We're talking about what you framed it as.
It's the primary issue.
The primary issue for me is finances. It's not to sleep around. All right, that would be two different things. But I'm not maintaining my independence and staying single so I can sleep around. That's not the primary issue.
I understand.
It is for finances. So those are two different arguments.
No, they're not.
You want to make it the same for you? Go ahead.
Let me give the explanation.
Please.
If every single argument you make, even if you say these ones over here are tangential, but I agree with them, is the same exact argument of the 1970s bra-burning feminist, whether or not it's your
that's what you believe.
Whether or not it's the primary goal,
make it work for you.
Hang on, man.
Make it work for you.
Even if it's the case, it's not the primary goal; it's a secondary goal. They're still the same goals.
You framed it as the number one goal.
Let me at least make the argument before you respond.
Reach on in there, man.
So the thing is,
dig deep.
Is if you say, "Hey, man,
dig deep."
This is about financing. It's like, okay, well, the 1970s feminists, we can't have credit cards, we can't control our bank accounts, we can't control our own financial independence from men. That's what they're fighting for. You want the same thing: independence from women to control your own finances. Say,
you were talking about promiscuity.
Almost done with the argument, then he can rebut it. Next thing is, when you're talking about promiscuity, sure, sleep with whoever you want, right? It's under your purview because you can do whatever you want with your body. Same exact argument that they're making. They're not the property of men, right? They should have complete sexual liberation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are the same degenerate structured systems which led us to where we are currently right this second, except you're just providing them for men instead of women. It's like, can't we at least at some level look at this and say, look, just because these crazy women are doing these insane things, we can actually, as men, do something about this prescriptively without adding the degeneracy. Can't we do that?
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
There's a such thing as, you might take a medication to solve one issue and you get side effects. You're telling me the side effects equals what the men wanted as to solve the problem to heal. That's the reason they took the medication. Now you're telling me about all these side effects. A side effect of feminism being able to control their body is to also have finances, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with the men. The men didn't intentionally go in there to say, this is for our bodies. We went in there to say this is to control our finances. Then as a result of that, there could be some other things that happen as a result.
Yeah, but if the results are the same as feminism,
it's not the same.
What's the difference? It is not going to be the
outcome, because at that particular point, the man has controlled his finances. He's outside of the state system.
That's what the feminists argued for themselves.
That's a completely different reason. You can have
who cares? It's the same fucking outcome.
You can have the same outcome, and it could be for different reasons. All right, you're saying the outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can have two different reasons and have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s progressive feminists for men because you intended it to be different.
But you wanted to compare. You just simply wanted to compare it as the same.
It is the same.
It's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges because you didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way, even though that's the same result.
You framed it that way to fit your narrative. That's your narrative.
It's not my narrative. You just agreed that what I said is true.
I didn't agree with anything.
You did. You just said it's the same comparable institution.
This is the outcome. If I choose to do something for different outcomes, it's not the same.
It's just wild.
Just because certain things line up.
It's just
the way you want. And you're cherry picking, by the way, and you're very good at it. You're cherry picking the good things, the bad things, and then you want to reframe traditionalism and call up the traditional church. Well, the traditional church also had the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
No, that was
Is that what you want to do? Okay,
Protestant churches.
Okay, well, it's the church. And at that particular point, you want to go ahead and cherry pick what's good and what's bad.
By the way, they were Democrats.
That's a great snapshot.
Those were Democrats.
Exactly. And of course, they were Democrats. And certainly
not
what the Republicans. Okay, well, now where are we at? There's going to be Democrats in your church? No Democrats.
I find it funny that Coach Greg Adams is the one accusing Andrew Wilson of cherry picking, but Andrew Wilson is the one saying, look, these are the consequences of your actions. You can call them different things, but they both end the same thing. And he's even gotten Greg Adams to agree with it. But then Greg Adams is just simply trying to respond with, oh, well, that's not the focus. So that argument doesn't really work out. Like, you can focus on something else and still get the same result. Like, there's all sorts of tyrannical forms of government, but they all equal the same terrible, despotic result in the end. And on top of that, I'm not even sure if Greg Adams is paying attention to what he's saying. Like, at the very end, the tail end of the video, I mean, he even admitted, he's talking about, how bad the church was, but those were all Democrats, the same party that helped push feminism. And he even admitted, as Andrew Wilson pointed out, like, those weren't Republicans. And then Greg Adams is like, oh yeah, well, there's no Democrats in your church. Well, that's the whole point. Like, that's the whole point. I'm not even sure if he's paying attention. Like, he is desperately trying to save himself, but Andrew Wilson is absolutely bringing the heat in this debate. But let me know in the comments what you thought about what Andrew Wilson had to say in this explosive debate, destroying Coach Greg Adams for his extremely woke take in this debate. Thanks again, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.